Hello everyone, Lawrence here from Unicorn Reviews. Sadly I couldn't find a unicorn to review, but we're going with the next best thing, Logitech's new G29 wheel. Is it a big improvement over the G27? I guess that's what we're going to find out today. I have testing on both of them. I have thousands of hours on the G27. I have about 15 hours on this one, maybe 16 because I've been redoing this video a bunch of times. Anyway, let's start with the user experience. The box is better, if people care about boxes. That's about it. Everything else seems to be the same. You get a better software. I mean, the software is really a lot better, the new Logitech G software. You can basically assign any button on the wheel to do anything, which is really nice. It's a bit like high-end keyboards where you can just reprogram every single button. It's just nice, you know, to have that sort of stuff. So what else is new? We're going to start with a physical overview of the product itself. As you can see, the base itself, almost identical, I guess. Inside there, though, is new sensors and a new encoder. The sensors should add accuracy to your turn-in. You know, it should just turn in more accurately, and it does. That may be because my G27 is a bit old. It is worn out because it has thousands of hours of use on it. But it does feel more accurate in turn-in, and it definitely feels more accurate on force feedback. It's more detailed. It's like there's just a bigger range on this wheel. It doesn't feel stronger, but the small things feel differently. You know, curbs feel, I wouldn't say more realistic, because curbs in real life you just feel it through your back mostly. But there is bigger vibrations to the wheel, and the wheel just feels better. You know, different curbs feel differently, and you can just feel different grip levels. If you press the I on the top right of your screen, you can see my race at Monaco that I did yesterday in the rain on slicks with a Formula Golf competitive racing, and I have to say I could easier catch the oversteer with this wheel than I could with the G27 because of the better force feedback. The biggest change to me, though, is in the pedals. You may know Nixon Mod pedals. They are G27 pedals with a different spring and a bit of a rubber in there to make it more progressive. And Logitech with this one has done it for you. So you get a progressive brake now. The old one used to take about 15 to 17 kilograms of force to completely press it in, and it was completely linear, which is rubbish, really. No car feels like it. The G29 pedals, much improved, up to 28, I think, kilograms of force needed, and they're really soft up to about 10 kilograms, and then the progressive spring really kicks in, and it gets really hard to press the pedal in further, but you do have to use more force, so it replicates a load cell-like pedal, like I have right here with my Club Sport pedals. Now, you might be wondering, like, Lawrence, why are you not using the G27 pedals? Honestly, because I have these ones mounted, and I just did the G29 pedals soft mounted, just put them on the floor. They didn't slide away or anything, that was not the issue. But I do have pretty big feet. I usually wear shoes when I'm racing. And when I do, the G29 pedals are too small for me. I just can't left foot brake without hitting the clutch on the Logitech pedals, so that's why I'm using these ones. For most people it will be okay. Before I had these, I used to use the G27 pedals a lot, just wearing socks. But then if I want to go really realistic, I wear shoes, and then they're too small. Anyway, to the wheel itself. It used to be gray, now it's black anodized aluminum. It's still hand-stitched leather. It feels nice. It feels nice. It feels like a really quality product. Except when we go to the buttons. There's one button that I don't like at all. But the new 8-way D-pad instead of a 4-way D-pad, much improved. All the buttons have a really nice click to it. Also the blue ones. I really like the color scheme on this one. I think the red and black was a bit too much with the G27. This blue just feels nicer. It just looks nicer. It's nicer to look at. We have this plus and minus button as well now, which I ended up using for brake balance adjust. Now, when I saw the wheel, I thought, oh, this rotary button, that's great for adjusting brake pressures. But this button feels a bit plasticky. It doesn't feel as high quality. And I don't know if it's the games that aren't optimized for it yet, But when you rotate it, sometimes it needs 1 click, sometimes it needs 2 clicks. The clicks feel differently. There are about 21, I think, settings in there, and it is registered as button 21 and 22. If you rotate it to the right, I think it's, well, clockwise, it's button 21, counterclockwise is button 22. But it requires different amounts of turning each time. And that's just really unusable when you're racing. You can't, look at it or look at a part of your screen to see if a change has been taken into effect. So that's, I guess, a little negative. Another little negative, I think, the shifter pedals are too strong. The downshift, especially, I sometimes miss downshifts because the pedal is just, it's too strong. It requires too much force. So half the force would be perfect, I think. So yeah, next up, the shifter. I didn't get a new shifter. If I asked for one, I could get them because the Logitech PR people are great people, and big thanks to Logitech for borrowing me this wheel so that I can test it for you guys. But if you use the old shifter, which you can use, which is great, you only get the shifter bit. You don't get these top 12 buttons to use because it registers it as the new shifter. Is that because of the way, it's mechanically, well, electronically in there, that it cannot use those top buttons? Is it because they want you to buy the new one? I guess not, but I honestly don't know. I hope that there is a software update so that you can use those top 12 buttons. It would just make a lot of difference, because while there are a lot of buttons on this wheel, there still aren't as much as on my modified G27, which has just a buttload of buttons. It's so handy. I never have to take my hands off the wheel. And because you have more buttons and you don't have to take your hands off the wheel, you just don't crash as much. You always have your hands off the wheel. You're never caught off guard, and it's just nicer, really. So there you go. What else is there really to say about this wheel? I guess the biggest one is the price. So it's now 400 euros. The G27 used to be 240. I've done some research, and using idealo.de, I found that proshop.de, so German sites, they still have the G27 for 235 euros, whereas the suggested retail price, I think, is 350 now. I found it in Belgium for as little as 320, but 235, the cheapest in Germany. And I could even find this wheel for only 300 euros. And so I'm going to review it as the cheapest I can find it, which is 300 euros. And I guess at that point, you end up with the big question, right? So I have a G27, should I upgrade to this wheel? If you have a lot of money left over for I don't know what reason, and you don't have anything else to spend it on, sure, upgrade to this wheel. It has better compatibility with the PlayStation 3 and the 4. And if you just put it in PlayStation 4 mode, you can use it with your computer. Great stuff. You can also buy the Xbox version, which doesn't have the bottom buttons. Everything else is pretty much the same. So, should you upgrade it? In my opinion, you shouldn't if you have a G27. But, if you are buying it new because you don't have a wheel, or because you have something like a DFGT, sure, buy this one. I do think it feels better than the Fanatic wheel. I tested the GT3 RS version 2 pedal right there on the top right of your screen if you press the I. I think this one feels a lot better. I redid a test on the GT3 RS 2 days ago, which was one day after I got this one. I have now, 17 hours of testing with this. So I used it quite intensively. I did really long races, really long stints with it. It's so comfortable, this wheel. Not that the GT3 RS isn't, but this one just, it's better. And the pedals, the new brake pedal, it's better as well. So guys, that was pretty much it for my video. Don't upgrade if you already have a G27. If you buy a new wheel, definitely buy this one instead of the G27. See if you can find a cheap shifter from the G25 or G27 on eBay, because it will work, which is great, and it may have more functionality in the future. Guys, if you liked this video, press that like button. If you didn't like the video, press the dislike button. You can share this video with your friends, regardless of whether you like it or not. Maybe they will like it. And thank you very, very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Unicorn Reviews for more of my videos.